Well, hello, and yes, I am still alive. It's been a long time since I've been on the show. I think it must be, about 3 months now, and Topher threw me in the deep end. He decided to double book himself, as he generally tends to do these days, and it's not that we don't ask much of him. We just say a couple of hours once a month. I mean, is that really too much to ask for? One Wednesday night at the end of the month. He's had it scheduled in his diary for 12 months in advance, but he still cannot arrange his schedule. But one man who definitely can arrange his schedule and hasn't missed a single show yet is Professor Omar. How are you?
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Not too bad. I'm better than I have been, not as good as I'd like to be.
Yeah. Now, look, first of all, obviously, people don't know, but I'm really sad and sorry to hear about your dad. I know it was something that you anticipated, but we can never ever anticipate your father not being around. Yeah. It's not something you plan for. That's not something you ever ready to be. As a man, there's nothing that make you ready for that. But and you have had a lot of health problems. Your both parents at that point, your wife, children, multiple challenges, business challenges, and my heart goes for that. And you're a strong man, and I hope you continue to do your best as you always do.
Thank you. For those who might not be aware, my father passed away yesterday morning. So the family's sort of just coming to terms with that. It was not unexpected, but even as Omar said, we've been knowing that it's inevitable. It still comes as a shock when it finally does happen.
Yeah.
So we've got Stu joining us tonight. Hi, Stu. And Daniel's joined us as well.
Hey,
G'day, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. If anyone hasn't already linked their Facebook account to StreamYard, if you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and link your profile, when you make a comment, it will put your Facebook profile picture and your name up for when you're commenting. Otherwise, we just get you listed as a user or something anonymous. Anyway, tonight, a cigar that actually I will say I chose this with one of our regular viewers in mind, and that was David Linehelm. Illusione cigars are renowned of being a strong cigar. There's not a very big range in their cigars, or at least there wasn't a few years ago. But they decided to come out with a medium cigar, which this is supposed to be a medium. So this one, the brand is Illusione, and the particular cigar that we're smoking tonight is Epernay, and the vitola for this one is Le Taureau. French play, I guess, on the word taureau, a taureau cigar. Technically, it's a fraction smaller than a Taureau. It's a 5.5 by 56 soft box press. But this proves to be a interesting cigar. It has received an awful lot of good reviews, and with the amount of vibe and talk about this, I decided to put this in one of the packs. Now, I actually purchased this in July last year and received the stock, I think it was about August. Might have been like the very first or second day of September. I can't remember if this was the shipment that came in a few days before the tax increase on tobacco, or whether it was the shipment that came in a few days after the tax increase on tobacco. But either way, that's how I know I can date it, because it was literally the very end of August, beginning of September that we got this. You've just muted yourself there, Omar. What? Say that again.
I said, I think we had the cigar straight after it landed.
Yes. So anyway, very simple branding, just a little white band, Illusione Epernay. It's got a beautiful aroma to the...
Yeah, on the foot.
There's a bit of a mustiness there, which is from age.
I was sensing a little bit, just so very little, something fruity. I can't put my finger on it,
Yeah.
but it's saltiness to it. It's
Almost reminds me a little bit of grape skin.
Yeah. I was look, definitely I was gonna go a stone fruit thing, stone fruit genre, but yeah, we can pass it to that. I think it certainly has this nice stone fruitiness to it, and I don't know what it is, but you could just
When I've cut the cap off, it's got a bit of a almost a oh, you know those little sour plums that the Japanese grow?
plums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got
Plums.
a bit of that note to it
Cherry
on the cut.
I'm going more towards the plum.
Yep.
Umbashi.
Beautiful.
Umabashi plums.
Well, I am going to give this a good toasting and get straight into this cigar and see where we go. So
Umabashi plums.
I think this is like my second or third cigar since I got sick.
Do you remember us having this cigar when it first landed?
So it's been a long time. I got sick on about the 15th of June, I think it was.
Yeah, somewhere in the June you got sick. But do you last year remember us having this cigar?
Can't say I do.
I'm pretty sure we tasted the cigar, or we sampled the cigar, whatever you want to call that.
Well, I mean, we product test most cigars before they make it to the show, and often we product test cigars I'm not sure about before I commit to buying a whole lot of them. So,
Oh boy. So definitely, that fruitiness is. Boom.
Oh wow!
It's just
wow. That is a unique.
Yeah,
that is a unique kickoff to a cigar.
Yeah, I think that fruitiness just popped, and it's very sweet. Look, I'm gonna go towards still plum, apricot, cherry, something in between. That's plumness, and there's an apricotness, and there's cherryness, there's sweetiness.
That is so sweet, straight off the light up. Hey Tony, thank you.
Hey Tones, good to see you back.
Wow.
Hey David, man, this is fruit.
I haven't had a surprising startup to a cigar like this in a while.
And it wasn't like that when we first had it.
No. The 12 months of aging has definitely improved this cigar.
Oh man. Oh. Guess what? I got a bad news for you, man. I'm so sorry.
What's that?
You know the cigar that I'm supposed to give it back to you? That's supposed to give it to Sam.
I'm not going to see it, am I?
Yes, there's no chance. I mean, and people are watching it. This cigar is so good. This is, you know what? It doesn't have a much smoke, but the flavors are so good.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's so full of flavors.
Look, thank you for that comment, Ethan. I think both of us agree wholeheartedly with you. So,
Ethan, we totally agree with you, man. This is just so obvious. Now, Damo, I don't know, but this is a fruit, and I said it's plum or cherry. I don't know, but this is very fruity. It got a bit of bakeryness to it. It's got toastiness to it for sure. Man,
even and you know what? Normally when we taste cinnamon in a cigar, it's usually the equivalent of, say, the cassia cinnamon, the Indonesian cinnamon that's quite bold and punchy.
Yes,
I reckon this has got a bit of the Sri Lankan Viram cinnamon in it. That really soft, subtle, musky,
true
note to it.
Cinnamon, yes. I agree. So Tony, if you wanted to do that, man, you could just send an email out. Damo would get back to you with the current stock list. And I don't know how many of these are left.
I just did stock take. I think it was about a week ago, and I've got an updated list. So if you message me, Tony, privately, I can give you our current inventory.
Then there is a something interesting. Obviously, it's got an herbal note to it too, which is a sweet herbal note. And I think I get the cinnamon, but there's more depth to it. It could be clove.
I just got a hit of that herbal note just on that puff. Then
I'm going clovey.
It's familiar.
Yeah, sweet clove. That's what I'm saying. It's that fruit mixed into clove, but it's sweet. This is so good. This is so good. And you know what? I love box spread cigars. They are just a pleasure to smoke. I have them any day over a standard shaveless.
Try retroing it. It's got a really unusual flavor on the retro as well. For those viewers who are not familiar with retrohaling, you basically allow a small amount of the smoke in your mouth to come up through your sinuses and out through your nose, but don't do a full puff of smoke because that would just be too harsh and just make you cry and cough and sneeze, burn your sinuses. But just a little bit, and it just gives you a different flavor profile. Sort of you're going from taste and olfactory to sort of concentrating more on the olfactory component. So
yeah, I think it just reaches that. And now, I tell you what, dude. From what I know, I think it was nominated twice for a Cigar of the Year, either 2011 and 2019. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's one of those years, 2011, 2019 Cigar of the Year. It was once number 3, and I don't remember the other time.
I can't remember which year it was in the top cigars of the year. It first came out in 2007.
Yes.
And from my notes that I've got here, it has been nominated in the top 25 cigars for 3 consecutive years in a row. So I'm guessing it's probably 2007, 8, 9, or 8, 9, 10, or something like that.
There's an 11 in it, so it could be the last one is 11. So you maybe talking about 9, 10, 11, maybe.
Yeah, and it was scoring in the 90s too every time they rated it. So I mean, we're talking a good high-hitting cigar.
And I'm sitting outside. It's very windy, and look at how beautiful the ash is on this. Man, this is beautiful.
Just stacking dimes.
Now, I don't know if the viewers know, but this was the answer to, in the American market, you have obviously it's a Nicaraguan Puro. It's a Nicaraguan Puro, but the beauty of that is there was an answer to, in the American market, to a cigar that is very Cubanist. Good evening, Cigar Man Sam. He was going to join us, but has some personal challenges. He's doing some work at home, so unfortunately he couldn't join us. But yeah, so a Nicaraguan Puro, which with obviously Cuban seed, they're trying to it's got the most Cubanist flavor profile from Adesuela de Monterrey, Upman, very alike. That's what they were trying to produce with that. But this is absolute delight. This is an absolute. I think Cigar Man Sam just missed out. I think he just missed out.
The people that want to know, Epernay is the name of a town in the Champagne region of France.
France, yeah.
So that was just another little thing if people were wondering about that. It is a Nicaraguan Puro. It's a Nicaraguan filler, binder, and wrapper. So
use Cuban seeds all the way through.
Yep. So interestingly enough, it was actually the factory location where they made this cigar was actually in Honduras. So it's a Nicaraguan Puro, but made in Honduras. So I don't know if does that still classify as a Nicaraguan Puro if it's made in another country?
I think the Puro comes from the actual tobacco.
Yeah. So
not from but I think there is a trade.
They'll have to come up with a new definition. So if it's a full Nicaraguan made in Nicaragua compared to a full Nicaraguan made elsewhere.
Sorry. Also, I think you got the name of a champagne town in France attached to it too.
So well, actually, in one of our future packs, we're going to have a Brazilian cigar, full Brazilian. So you're probably the first time you've had a Brazilian.
I don't know if you had one yet, but it'd be a big job.
A full Brazilian.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, man, I'm actually the first time we had this cigar, I wasn't impressed. I'm like, what's this hack about Illusione?
It was nice. It was a nice cigar, but it didn't really jump out at you at that time, did it?
Yeah, and I wasn't like, I'm like, okay. I had this thing about Illusione, wanted to try one, and Damo rocks up and they said, let's try this. I'm like, man. But this is now, I think, I'll tell you what, this is right up David Lineham's alley. I mean, this is typical cigar. I think, dare I say, that David Lineham would thoroughly enjoy it.
Daniel. Are you offering to jump on the show with us? That is good.
I seriously think that was a big difference. What we had the first time. David
Linehelm's joined in with us. Oh, yep, good. I just made the call. I was just about to ask him what he was thinking.
And he's on to it. He's on to it, David.
I tell you what, I reckon I'm learning some of our clientele's palates quite well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's typical. That's David's cigar for sure.
Yeah. I know Topher's palate quite well. I know David's palate quite well, and I even know your palate quite well now. So I know cigars that you guys are going to like.
Knowing Topher's palate is not hard. There's no palate. Yeah, so you just sign off on that.
Hang on. Let me just...
They're trying to fight over Topher's spot, these guys.
I know.
If Topher knew. No, it's definitely nowhere near Padron. It's more of a Hoya de Monterey. I would say nuances of Upman as well. So I'm actually going Hoya de Monterey and maybe Monte Cristo as well.
Although this is a lot sweeter and fruitier than a Cuban cigar. I mean, I get those Cuban-esque notes that you're talking about. It's interesting. Like if I smoked this cigar blindfolded and didn't know what I was smoking, I would not have picked it as thinking it was remotely Cuban.
Yeah.
Hey, Udo. Actually, Udo, I was thinking of you today. I was like, I haven't heard from Udo in so long. I hope he's doing all right. So I'm glad to see that you're on the show tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I am finding I'm having to give it a double puff. Maybe that's also because I'm finding that I'm really liking the flavor with a long time between draws.
Very pleasant cigar. I agree with what Udo said.
The draw is absolutely gorgeous on it. It's not tight. It's just got the right amount of resistance to make it a pleasant smoke. Hi, Simon. Thank you. Yes, it's good to be back on the show. I really missed the show. Actually, the two shows that you guys did while I wasn't here, I did try to tune in and watch the show, but I was so ridiculously sick. The first show I fell asleep waiting for you to start and never end up watching it. And the second one I started watching and I think I got 5 minutes in and 10 minutes in and I just fell asleep again. So I did try to join you in spirit on those shows, but unfortunately my health didn't allow me. So
good to see you back, dude. You did have some challenging times for sure, but the fact that you're back, that's what matters the most.
I'm trying to pick that herbaceous note that you were talking about. It's familiar.
I couldn't pick it. So to me, it was like very clove-like, but it's a sweeter mixed with all these fruity notes. It's just making it a bit more sweet clove kind of thing, if that makes sense. So I'm just going with that.
Maybe it's a little grass-like, the herbaceous note.
Man, even the foot smoke is absolutely beautiful.
Well, Stu reckons I fell asleep. It's a nice even burn. Like it's burning really nicely. I'm not having to baby the cigar at all.
Yeah, I'm outdoors. It's really windy, and it's just I don't know. I can hold the ash because it's very windy out there, but it's just holding.
Well, I got the roller door shut. I was going to have it open, but the gale that was blowing in, I just thought, nah, I won't be able to get my cigar lit up.
Yeah, it's actually hard to even hold this ash right now. It's so bad.
So I'm in with a winning chance tonight, am I?
Oh yeah, you definitely got a chance. Hey, this is my burning because I'm outdoors. I think
looks better than mine.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm because I'm sitting outside. It's totally different. Man, I'm enjoying this cigar. To me, that's a cigar of the pack. It's gonna go very high up on my list.
Yeah,
very high on my list.
Hey, speaking of cigar packs, this is the last cigar of this pack.
Yeah,
and we have to tell people what's in the next one. So, should I make it like a strip tease and just do one cigar now and another one a bit later, another one a bit later, and
third?
Well, yes, a cigar for each third of this cigar.
Yeah, that's
fair enough. All right, so the first cigar in our pack is going to be the Southern Draw Jacob's Ladder. Let me see if I can make it stand out a little bit better for you.
Yeah, that's better.
It's hard to see. Hang on. I'm going to come out from behind the desk and come a bit closer.
Leave it there so I can focus. Yeah, that's better. Back, up. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's got a very dark royal blue wrapper on. It's got a cedar sleeve on the foot.
Yep.
You and I have had this cigar. We had it as a trial to see whether I wanted to buy it or not.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And we really rated it. Now, it is rated as a full-strength cigar, but neither of us found it full strength.
Good medium.
But it was a unique cigar. I still remember that cigar quite well.
Yeah.
And yep, that's right, Simon. It's actually, Simon, have you had that cigar before? Obviously, knowing what it is, I reckon you have. So anyway, that's the first cigar in the next pack. So I'm really looking forward to that cigar. That's going to be my pick for the next pack. I mean, we've got another good cigar in there that I like very much as well. But yeah, it was one of those cigars that I think twisted our perception of the flavors that you can get in a cigar, didn't it?
Yes. I think we were anticipating to be a full body cigar. It wasn't full. It was much milder, very pleasant.
It was definitely a solid medium. But it definitely it definitely shocked us both. We both kept being in disbelief. Now we have. I'm just going to go to this profile, so I can add Daniel in. Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Very well.
You're looking a lot better.
Very good to where I have been in life, and not as good as I want to be. So
You'll get there, man. You will get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'm stumping the doctors at the moment, so they think I've got kidney stones as a result of everything that was done to me and all my illness and all the meds I've been on. But I saw the specialist today, and he's not convinced that the kidney stones are causing the problem because they're not in the position that should cause the problems. The kidney stones don't cause the problems for the length of duration I've had it for. And the starting on and off again of the problems I've been having, the pain I've been having, isn't consistent with it either. So he's a bit baffled as well. So, but you've got to keep these doctors on their toes. I mean, they spend, 14 years at university, become a specialist, and you don't expect them just to sit on their laurels after 14 years of study. So
kidney stones are terrible. Like, I've had them before. And the worst pain I've ever had.
Well, I had kidney stones 2 years ago. Left me in the fetal position on the floor of my bathroom, vomiting, lathered in sweat because of the pain, and I couldn't get off the floor.
Yeah.
Was given the most amount of drugs I've ever had in my life, and finally, when the pain went, I was as high as a kite.
Yeah, they gave me the max dose they could possibly give of, I think, 4 total doses, but of the what's the one they give you first?
Fentanyl?
No, that was the one that finally actually did it for me. It was can't remember what it was. They gave me it was supposed to be a strong painkiller. Didn't even get me out of the fetal position. I got to the hospital in the ambulance. What's it? Morphine, that's the one. They had given me 4 doses. They said, we can't give you any more. And I'm still in the fetal position in the ambulance, screaming in pain. And I've usually got a high pain tolerance. And I'm like, got to the hospital. They gave me the fentanyl injection. And I'm just like, I'm good. Can I go? But they had to give me the fentanyl so they could actually do the scans.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when the ambos picked me up, they gave me the Penthrox to start with, which is the green whistle that you suck on.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that.
That did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It took a very slight edge off the pain. It dropped me from a 15 out of 10 to maybe about a 13 out of 10. Then they gave me a whole ampule of fentanyl. And I'm only 3 blocks from the hospital, so the ambulance didn't have to travel far to get me to hospital. Got to hospital, straight into the triage. The triage nurse came out, gave me a second ampule of fentanyl. They rolled me into ED. And about 15, 20 minutes later, the doctor came and saw me, gave me an ampule of morphine. And then about 20 minutes later, I was still in pain. They came and gave me some Indocid. And then when that finally kicked in, I was it was like being wrapped up in warm cotton wool floating in the sky. All of those drugs were given to me in the space of about an hour. So
I got 4 doses of morphine between my house and the hospital, which at the time was about probably a 5-10 minute drive. It didn't even take the edge off it. And when they put the injection, intramuscular injection of the fentanyl into the arm when I got to the hospital, within a couple of minutes, I was like, hey, I'm good. Floating on air. And I'm like, I said, I can go home now. And they're like, no, we've got to do some scans to find out what's in there. I had a 6 millimeter and a 4 millimeter, but they'd already started moving. So they just had to wait for them to go out. I'm glad I passed them under the fentanyl because that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Cigar Man Sam likes Endone, so it sounds like it makes him feel warm and fuzzy.
He's got a very nice taste, Sam.
So Stu's asking if the cut will affect the burn. Yes, it will. Sometimes when I do a V cut and the cigar's not breathing properly, I'll often then just do a straight cut to open it up a bit. But not always the case. Sometimes it's just a bad roll. The Banchero hasn't quite got the leaves rolled properly, or they've twisted the leaves slightly when they've been putting the binder on, and that will cause a clog in the airflow of the cigar. So, look, one of the tricks with a cigar, Stu, is you just gently feel along the cigar with your fingers, just gently squeeze it, and you'll find a spot that's actually harder than the rest. Just sort of give it not too hard, but just sort of roll it back and forward in your fingers like that, where it's hard, and try and loosen that spot up if there is one. Mine doesn't have one because it's going really well, but if you do that, that sometimes can just move the leaves just enough to get a bit of airflow through.
Yeah. That's it. Where are we at with the flavors, gents?
It's very mild.
Mm.
Just effortless.
It's a bit more toasty now.
Mm.
I think, yes. So it's definitely gone from very fruity to fruity and toasty. And I think there's a bit of a cedar just kicked in as well for me. It's got a slight cedary sort of nuances coming through.
Almost that fresh cinnamon bun. Just a very light hint of that cinnamon in the background, but it's not a strong cinnamon.
Light cinnamon, sweet cinnamon. I had getting some clove as well, but that's gone too.
Yeah, there was a bit of that on the light up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely got that cedar note there. The herbaceous note is right on the very tail end of the finish still, but it's died down substantially.
To me, I'm still getting it. But it's a very pleasant one. It's very pleasant. It's very sweet. Man, I'm actually really loving this cigar. Yeah, cloves, but not exactly yet. Yeah, David, it's cloves that are sweetened. That's what it is. It's cloves that have been sweetened and add fruitiness to it.
Yeah, like
if you take that sort of punchy, pungent note of clove away and just sort of have that sort of soft initial flavor of the clove, that's sort of where it's at.
When I worked at the bakery, we used to put like a little bit of clove in your like spice mix that went on like your fruit loaves and stuff, like in your fruit loaf and that. It's like that very light hint of the clove with the sweetness of the fruit.
Yeah, and I think that plum / cherry note is still there. It's still sort of going underneath the whole thing. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, definitely more plum than cherry in my mind.
Actually, on the retro now, the fruit is a bit more dominant on the retro.
Yeah, very dominant. Very dominant.
It's got a beautiful foot smoke too.
Absolutely good. Man, I'm going to put this cigar on my top list. There's no chance.
I wouldn't think it was strong enough for you, Omar.
Look, you got to appreciate a cigar that that is so light, but it's so flavorsome. Usually lighter cigars have lack of flavors. This is mild, but it's full of flavors. So that's a massive. That's a massive.
Cigars that rate high for me are also cigars that not only have flavor, but also have a journey or a story.
Yeah.
That's not just the same all the way through, that it's changes here, changes there, keeps your interest in the cigar. Because, if you want to sit back and enjoy a cigar and reflect on it, you want it to tell a story, to be interesting, to constantly have little changes here and there just to spark your interest and, trigger memories.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think this particular one, it is effortless, but it's giving you all of those changes.
You could definitely have this after brekkie with a coffee.
You're funny. You can have it.
Omar would have this just to get out before he gets out of bed, I reckon.
I think this is a cigar that you want to have it in bed. This is exactly.
I don't think Sharon would let me. She lets me smoke cigars, but not in bed. I don't think I'd be able to. Somehow, it'd be nice just to have it. I'd need another ashtray for the bedroom.
Yep. Well, they used to make little cigar ashtrays that were on a stand that actually came up a bit higher than what the bed was, so that you could sort of lay in bed and just reach across and just rest your cigar on it or tap the ash into it.
That. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's the dream life. Don't even have to get out of bed. Just have your humidor next to the bed, in the bedside table.
I think you're describing Omar's place. Little bit of very faint spice there as well.
I've dropped the edge, obviously, and I'm not going a bit faster than you guys too. I'm almost touching the middle.
The spice that I'm picking up, it's not a pepper. That's not the cinnamon. It's almost a little bit like, the bite that you get from a ginger.
Ginger bite.
There's just a soft ginger bite there.
Mm.
It's still quite a sweet tasting smoke as well. It's definitely not a dry smoke by any means.
Yeah. Really good. Really good. I think in the recent memory at Cigar Professor, this is the cigar after Ave Maria that we had. That is just, I'm falling in love with this thing.
Which Ave Maria was that one?
The blue, the
Davinia?
No, not Davinia. The Ave Maria. It could be Davinia, dude. I'm not sure, but there was like a blue wrapper with
Yep.
box
I'm pretty
press.
certain that's the Davinia.
After Davinia, this is one cigar. After a long time.
I think you see the one with the blue wrapper. Is it one of those?
Yes.
Yep. Middle one.
Middle or the bottom one?
No, the bottom one is. Oh, is the bottom one the No, you wouldn't have had one of the Reconquistas yet, have you? Dark brown Ave Maria.
Davinia. It's Davinia.
Davinia.
No, these are from a couple of those are from the 5-pack I ordered. A little 5-pack of Ave Marias.
Okay, yes. So, well, that actually had a Davinia, Reconquista, Morning Star. Actually, let me have a look. What was in that? What's in that 5-pack?
Not Immaculata. Let me find out.
So that little 5-pack that you had, I think we're still. We might not have any of those left in stock, but it has the Morning Star. It has Davinia, which is the one I think it was. Immaculata was the one we had early on in the series, which is the Connecticut shade wrapper. Yeah. It also had a Reconquista in it and an Argentum.
Yeah, that looks like the
Davinia.
The Davinia's got like a whiter label than that.
That's it here.
Definitely the Davinia. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. So apart from Davinia, this is one cigar in the recent memory. In a long time, it's not going away. This is so good.
Well, the good news is I've got 1 and a part boxes of them in inventory at the moment. So
that's pretty cool.
Be able to enjoy some more.
Yeah. Minus the one that I'm not returning.
Well, I might have to order a few off you now that you're back on your feet. I ordered some what are they? blue dot. Ordered some off
Cohibas?
Cohiba Uber cigar off Uber Cigar. Got a 5-pack of the blue dot Cohibas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not a bad smoke, but I was like, you were a bit laid up, so I thought I had to have a few extras in the humidor. So
yeah, I was quite laid up at one stage. There was a couple of times there I even thought I was going to die in hospital. So
I'm glad you didn't.
Yes. Well, I managed to run a fever of between 39 and 41 degrees centigrade for 30 consecutive days.
And I thought I was bad. After Canberra, when I got fried, I ran a 39 to 40 degree fever for 7 days.
Yeah, well, I can tell you when I got to about day 22, 23, I was just like, kill me now. It's like, I have nothing left to fight this with. I was just laying in bed. I was too sick, but I was also too tired to eat. I drank water and that was it. So I think I'm getting into the second, third now.
I think I'm the second, third. Being outdoors is
you're powering through it.
Yeah, I think being outdoors is and that's the how.
Yeah, well, the wind blowing around also fans the cherry, makes it burn hotter and quicker.
Yeah.
There goes my ash.
We lost the ash challenge.
Just then. Oh, yeah, right. I saw your ash is already gone.
Yeah, Daniel is going and he's blowing.
Daniel's still got his though.
I'm
blowing a few rings for us. Trying to do make sure that we've got a better ring representation on the show than what normally happens when Topher's on. So,
well, Topher only blows them by accident from time to time. He doesn't actually know how he does it.
I've only ever blown one ring once, and I didn't even try, and I don't know how I did it. So,
yeah, Mr. Stu has some challenges by the looks of it.
It doesn't have
it's been a long time, man.
I can't remember Cos, but a few shows ago, we were trying to remember some of the people that we haven't seen for a while, and you were definitely one of our viewers that came to mind.
Yeah,
how are you going?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Actually, since my ash dropped, that spice note has gone from being a soft ginger to a little bit more like a black pepper.
Mm.
And the smoke has, since the ash dropped, the smoke has dried out a little bit. But look, that's totally normal on a lot of cigars. Once the ash drops, the air oxygen gets into your cherry, it burns a little bit hotter for the first minute or two after the ash drops. And so you end up getting some more of those bolder, almost harsher flavors. It's a bit like when you have a cigar go out and you have to relight it partway through. That often happens as well.
Mine's got a bit of it. I've still got the ash on there, but it's still got a bit of a peppery note, but it's more of a cayenne, sort of mild cayenne pepper.
Yeah, well, the only reason I said black pepper for me, it's got that sort of rough raspiness that sort of catches you on the back of the throat. But it's already, the ash is starting to build up a little bit, and it's already starting to change the flavor profile again for me.
Yeah. It's been very pleasant. You have this, I'm not sure if it's pepper, but I'm still going back to that clove note. I think it's becoming pronounced. It's that clove note is getting more pronounced now. That's what I'm getting. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, definitely. I actually use clove oil in water to gargle with, so I know the clove tastes very well. It's good for if you got like a hole in your tooth as well. It'll deaden the pain on the tooth.
That's pretty good.
A dab of clove oil and put it on your gum or something and it gets rid of that, and it actually is antibacterial as well.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm in the second third. I better announce the second cigar of the next pack. No one is going to guess what this one is. Well, Omar will, so he can't say anything.
Oh, man. I'm actually looking forward to this stick. I'm really looking forward to
it. It says Hermitage number 1, St. Petersburg. Hermitage number 1, St. Petersburg. It is a hammer and sickle cigar.
Oh.
I found a supplier that had a little bit of old stock that they cleared out that had been buried away in a box at the back of their bulk humidor storage. And they weren't even sure how old these sticks were when they sold them. But we know that hammer and sickle hasn't been around for a few years, and this would have been in stock for a few years prior to that. So these sticks are probably a good somewhere between 5 to 10 years old easily. So and they're basically a Toro size cigar as well. So box pressed.
Ooh, interesting.
So the hammer and sickles that we've had in the past have been really good. It'll be interesting.
The white label was far better than the red label one, though.
Yellow.
This is true.
Was it yellow or red?
No, white. There was white, and then there was a red with a yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One was Connecticut and one was natural.
Yeah, the white label, I think, was more Connecticut, but it was
correct.
Oh, it was fantastic. I wish I could have gotten a whole box of those.
I did end up buying a box of them for my own personal collection. I've probably still got half of a box left in my stash.
Oh.
Looks like I've got to make a trip to Sydney.
So, look, I've got a bit of an interesting problem on mine at the moment. It's definitely burning. I can feel the heat coming through, but I'm not actually getting much smoke production.
Yeah, look, there's not much smoke production, but the profile of flavors is still amazing.
There we go. I got through it. Just having a little bad burn section there for some reason.
Oh, there goes the ash.
Yeah, that pepper note that you were talking about before has definitely gone more cayenne style on me now.
Is it?
Also, I've probably heated up the cigar a little bit, trying to puff through that dead spot. Thank you, Stephen, for the tasting notes on that cigar. It's definitely one I haven't yet tried. I only managed to get a couple of boxes of them, and I stashed them away. I didn't dare do anything with them until we'd put them in the packs. And I wasn't sure when we were going to, which pack I was going to put them into. So.
I'm definitely into final third. And it is getting a much stronger on the cedar, leather, and that clove note with underneath sweetness, the fruity sweetness.
The bands come off on mine very easily, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clove's definitely coming through now that ash has dropped. It's coming through stronger.
think I'm just going to touch up a bit of a wonky burn on mine just to see if that improves it a bit. I think Stu said he had to do a touch up as well.
What happened to Topher? Another excuse?
Oh yeah,
he's doing some
excuse.
grifting a bit more. He's doing some masterclass thing that he's course or something. He's teaching like a masterclass course.
Right.
Mate, I think it's on transitioning.
Yeah, his identifying sound
wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me.
Is he going to start identifying himself as bitch?
I think he's going to start trying out for the breakdancing for the next Olympics.
Oh, dude. That was heavy.
Happens, Stu. Happens. Tell you what, two of the worst cigars I've ever smoked in my life have been two of the most expensive cigars I've smoked in my life too. So
yeah,
happens to the best cigars.
It does.
I don't think I've smoked a bad cigar, but that might be because I only really order from you.
That's a good start.
I think one of the things with cigars, and what I've learned personally the hard way in my own stash before we started the business, was that if you let cigars go through the normal surface mail system, they get abused. They go through a lot of heat cycles. They get overheated. They get banged around, damaged, all sorts of things. And so one of the things that we did that's different to anyone else in the Australian cigar industry is when we get the cigars in, I actually move them on 3-day express air freight, door to door. So typically speaking, it's 3 days from the freight agent in America to my door. And because I'm using a freight agent at both ends, we're actually able to get a lot of the customs and clearance paperwork undertaken while the cigars are in transit. So I've often paid the taxes the day before or the day of the cigars arriving in the country. So when they land, the system actually shows that all the taxes are paid, all the duties are paid, all the freight's been paid and everything like that. And so as soon as it lands, if it lands before 9 in the morning, which is often the case, it's out for same day delivery to me.
Yeah.
And then I stick them in our humidor, and they don't even go on sale or in packs or anything for months beforehand. I let them rest and reacclimatize and just settle and get in their prime condition. So
that sounds so good.
I think Omar's drooling in his beard.
Oh, that's so good.
Nice strong hit of that sour plum note again. Not very sour, just that slightly sour plum.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of when we used to make the plum. Like we used to have an orchard with all the stone fruits, and we'd puree them and pour them into trays and actually put them in like a sunroom and just dry them out into fruit leather. And yeah, the plum leathers, that's that same taste.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's the cedar is making it a bit more stronger and heavier coming through.
Bolder, yeah.
Yeah, very.
That's a nice slow burning stick.
Yeah, I think outdoors is
for quite a light pack. It's burning nice and slow.
Yeah.
There's almost there's almost like a men's musky woody aftershave sort of note in there as well. Very soft, very subtle, but if you can just imagine a sort of a musky, masculine, almost the sort of smell you get from a really, fancy quality shaving cream sort of note. Those shaving creams where it's like the block of soap that you actually have to put the wet shaving brush into and sort of soap up. A bit of
like
that
at the
note
barber when you get a shave at the barber.
It's got that sort of that note to it that you sort of expect to experience when you're at the barber getting a shave.
It's sort of almost that leathery smell.
Yeah.
I think that note that you guys are talking about is vetiver. Vetiver is the pronounced note in that.
Yeah, I use vetiver oil for my ADHD.
Yes, hey. We're picking you up, man.
Yeah. It's a real woody, sort of grassy note. Yeah.
Woody, grassy, and I think it just is a very strong.
So this would probably be the point where Topher would actually start to enjoy the cigar. He probably wouldn't have liked any of it until now.
Yeah, he wouldn't know what.
He would have. Look, secretly, he was probably loving it all the way through, but he's still in the closet about these things. So he would never admit publicly that he would have liked the first 2/3. But when he gets into the leather, the wood and the leather, that's when he lets his hair down. That's it.
That's where he comes out.
That's where he comes out of the closet with the wood and the leather.
Yeah.
The whips and chains.
He likes it when it gets a bit rough and harsh,
We wouldn't know. Right, Mr. Stu? We would not know. We would not know. Yeah, man. Vetiver mixed with cedar, man. What a mix. Yeah. How would you, Mr. Stu, on that? That's a great one.
David, if you're still watching, how's it going for you at this point? Are you still enjoying it as the flavour has transitioned into those stronger, bolder flavours? You know what's also there on the finish? Very, very subtle. But those little you get those little tins of Danish licorice. They're like these tiny little pellets, and they're salted, unsweetened, salted dark licorice, and it gives that sort of earthy, dark note flavour in your mouth. I'm getting a little bit of that on the finish.
And there's still a bit of sweetness in there as well.
Yeah.
Sweetness there. David is back.
Excellent.
No nicotine.
I think, David, also for you, and I think you are experimenting with this as well, is that as you age cigars too, naturally over time, the nicotine degrades and breaks down as you age cigars. So, if you've got cigars that you enjoy, but you find they've got too much of a nicotine hit, it'd be interesting to know if you were to age them for, say, 2 or 3 years before you smoke them, whether you're able to smoke them with less of a nicotine hit at that point. This is not something I can ever ask Topher or Omar about, because the cigars would never last long to age at all. So
there's definitely not a lot of. I haven't noticed any nicotine in this. I'm going to have a vape later, because usually after a cigar I go in there and I don't even touch my vape. But actually, now that they've banned all the vape juice, I'm making my own.
Actually, I read an interesting paper while I was in hospital, because I was trying to, not diagnose myself, but sort of try and keep ahead of where the doctors were while I was in hospital. Well, they didn't inspire confidence at all. I found an interesting paper. People who have lost their sense of smell and taste due to COVID, they've actually been experimenting using nicotine patches, nicotine gum, and nicotine spray, and actually have found that using a small amount of nicotine on a daily basis for a couple of weeks actually reduced the recovery time for the restoration of smell and taste, which I found very interesting. It was actually it was on the National Health Institute government website as an actual study.
When COVID, like in 2020, when COVID was first, I think people were saying that, all these smokers are going to be the ones filling up the hospitals, and it's like turned out that the nicotine was actually blocking the spike proteins, and actually less smokers were in there than other people. And it's like,
yes, in France they started researching it, but the government quickly kiboshed it because the government didn't want to be seen to be promoting smoking.
That's right.
But I've started making all my own vape juice because they can ban the juice, but because the PG, the propylene glycerin, and the vegetable glycerin, you can buy the vegetable glycerin from Big W online, and the propylene glycerin from all your homebrew stores.
Yep.
And the only other thing you add is flavor, and the homebrew stores sell all those same flavors. So I'm making my own. I've already got all my nicotine. So I'm making vape juice now. And
nice.
It's cheaper.
It would be.
I bought 5 liters of the stuff for less than $200. I used to pay $55 for 180 mils.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of getting a little side business going because all the footy club I was working at before they finished the season, there's a heap of vapors out there that are trying to find somewhere to buy vape juice.
Nice. Yeah, Stu has a very
part of my hospital journey over the last 3 months was because I copped COVID on top of everything else I had got. I had I was going to miss one of the shows because I had chemo treatment, and I actually didn't miss the show because of my chemo treatment. I was actually in hospital sick with everything else. I've totally missed that treatment. But the treatment beforehand, I came home and the kids had head colds that they got from school, gave it to me, and I had the head cold for about a month and just couldn't shake it, and turned into a respiratory tract infection.
Yeah.
And then I copped COVID on top of it. And I hadn't lost my smell and taste at that point, but then they gave me remdesivir in hospital and nearly killed me. Run death is near got given to me. I got 2 of the 5 doses given to me. And basically that destroyed my sense of smell and taste for almost 2 months.
Yeah. I'm beginning to think, from what the things I've heard about remdesivir, it's like I'm thinking that's what destroys the smell and taste, not the COVID.
Yeah, or any toxic matter for that matter.
Well, it caused it started the progress of both kidney and liver failure in me.
Mm.
And then the hospital didn't understand why I didn't want to take any more. I didn't know what they were giving me. And I said, what's that stuff you gave me? I've just had a major reaction to it. Then they told me, and I'm like, yeah, no more, thank you.
Well, I won't let him give me anything without telling me what it is.
Well, he was not probably in a way to know.
Probably not.
Well, actually, when I first went into hospital, I was running a 41 temperature, and I was delirious. I was just on the point of being delirious. So I was dehydrated. I hadn't been able to eat for a few days, and so I was weak. So I just you just lie there and take whatever's given to you pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm into the final third, I still have from our very first batch of them, believe it or not very many left, just enough for the next pack. Rocky Patel ALR second edition. These have got a good 2 or 3 years of aging on them in our humidor.
Yeah.
So that will be the final cigar of the next pack.
Oh, they're one of my favorites.
Yeah, so I haven't had any on the inventory for sale because I've been setting them aside for the future pack, and this next pack is the pack it's going to have them. So I've only got basically a box and a couple of sticks left over. So literally, that's going to be the limiting factor on our next pack. The number of ALRs I've got to one box. So once we've got that many people snapped up the packs, that's it. So the next pack is limited by them. But I'm very, very keen to see how they've aged and what they're like after 3 years of sitting in the humidor.
So they'd be from the same. Are they from the same batch that they're in the first?
They are the same batch I bought. I haven't bought any more. Yeah. Oh, actually, correction. The only extra ones that I've bought since that was last year at Christmas time. I bought those white imitation leather travel humidors, which were branded ALR second edition, and they actually came with 5 cigars in them. Yeah. And what I did do is I will be corrected. Some people that wanted 10 cigars in it, I actually took out of the stock that we had that was sitting. So people who bought one of those humidors from us would have got 5 newer ones and then 5 of the original ones from the same batch as this one.
James, what about that ashtray?
That will have to be a future pack at some point.
Okay.
So, but what I am going to do in the next pack is I'm going to put. I've managed to get hold of a fair bit of the cedar sheeting that you see inside of cigar boxes. Yeah. I've accumulated a considerable amount. Actually, I went and bought a pile of it from some of the suppliers. Will actually, they're selling cigars, and they've sit the sheets aside from the boxes, and I actually bought some sheets, and I'm going to put some cedar in. So on one of the cigars, maybe the Southern Draw, we can use some cedar sheeting to light it up, just as something different.
I did that with one of my cigars the other week, and I was like, it's a very different experience, isn't it? Like the butane lighter.
And it's definitely not something you can do outdoors unless it's a dead still day. But the trick is to split the cedar, and we'll go through it on the show, into thin strips. And you use 1 or 2 just to toast it. You won't get very much of the tobacco lit with the first 2. And then the third one, you then start drawing in and sucking the flame in and get it lit up with that. And it gives you a different experience. Different kickoff, a much cooler start to a cigar.
Definitely. So, final third, where are we at?
It's still soft. It's still sweet. Definitely still got cedary, woody notes in there. The leather has actually died down a bit for me now. Instead of being like a strong leather note, it's now that the ashes build up, that leather note is smoothed out to a soft leather.
I'm getting a bit of pepper on the tongue now. Definitely still taste that clove.
Yep. That cinnamon notes come back for me as well.
Yep. It's a very light cinnamon, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's almost a bit of ginger back in there as well.
I think the herbal notes, which is a clove note, is really sticking to the tongue. It's much stronger. I think the cedar has mixed with it, and it makes it very earthy type of smoke right now, and it's savory now. It's hitting more of a sort of minerally, salty type of neons coming through. If that if that makes sense. Definitely savory now. Less sweetness, definitely savoriness coming through.
Just little glimpses of that licorice note. There's also just a bit of sourness in the smoke as well.
Mm.
A little bit floral on the retro as well. Just very, very soft floral.
Yeah.
The foot smoke's become a bit sharp as well. It's lost that soft incense fragrance note that it had.
Yeah. It's 2 minutes to fix his burn.
Actually, I was speaking to my godson, I think it was yesterday. It might have been the day before. And he was down at our warehouse giving me a hand with some stuff. And he saw all the cigars up there. And he goes, "Oh, are they all cigars?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What are you doing with so many cigars?" And I was telling him about Cigar Professor and that. And he said that this year he'd been out with his friends on 2 occasions, once out on a camping trip, another on a beach party, and someone broke out at both times. Different people broke out some cigars, and he had some, but he didn't hate the experience, but he didn't overly love the experience. He'd do it again, but he just sort of gave me the impression it wasn't something that he was, would race out and do. Like, yes, he'd do it if it was on offer, but it wasn't something that he wanted to. And it just made me think that, when you're trying to introduce people to cigars, how you've really got to put your thought cap on and think about the experience for someone new. And I actually said to him, so I said to him, was it a very light blondie coloured outside of the cigar, hoping it was like a Connecticut, and it wasn't. And so I think he had by the sounds of it, might have been a couple of different Cuban cigars, because everyone thinks that Cubans are the way to go. And I think one of the other problems is too, most people just go to the local tobacconist and buy a Cuban, and unfortunately most tobacconists don't store their cigars properly. There are some that do a good job and store them properly, but there is quite a lot that don't. And if you're ever trying to introduce someone to cigars, our recommendation is always start them off on a nice, smooth, sweet, mellow Connecticut, something like a Nub Connecticut or a Perdomo Champagne Connecticut. Yeah. What are some of your recommendations?
Topher started me on the Ave Maria.
Immaculata.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Immaculata. Very nice cigar.
Very nice stick.
The only one criticism I have with the Immaculata is that it is generally a bigger stick compared to, say, some of the smaller Perdomo champagnes or the Nub 354.
Yeah.
And a lot of new smokers can't get through more than about half a cigar if it's a big one like the Immaculata.
Yeah, I think he figured since I used to be a cigarette smoker that I'd handle it fine.
So just a question, having been a cigarette smoker, when you first started smoking a cigar, did you inhale the smoke or?
No, I had I think 1 or 2 cigars before. I had a cigar when, not a good one, but I didn't know that at the time, when I had my kids, and a mate's wedding. But yeah, I knew how to smoke a cigar. Well, I knew that you didn't inhale it.
Yeah.
So my plumber, he's a smoker, rolls his own, and I give him a few small cigars from time to time when he comes and does a bit of work for us. And he says his biggest problem is because he's so used to inhaling cigarette smoke that he forgets not to do that with a cigar.
Yeah.
So I tend to give him the smaller, lighter sticks, and doesn't seem to hit him too hard if he does do that.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Stu is getting a bit unique, should I say?
So a convex cone, as in the burn, generally means that you're puffing a bit too hard and fast on the cigar. Not always. It's not always the rule, but it's a good rule. If you see when the ash drops and it's fairly flat, you're at the right speed. If you've got a outward facing cone, it's usually because you smoked it a little bit too slow, and if it's inwards, it's often smoking a bit too fast.
That's it.
Stu doesn't smoke fast. Geez, Stu's usually like got half a cigar left when we're finished.
Yeah, I know. David thinks it's not an everyday smoke, but it's flavors.
Don't worry, David. Omar thinks every cigar is a daily smoke.
That's a pre-breakfast smoke.
That's a pre-breakfast. That's just to warm him up so he can have his breakfast stick.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful.
I think mine's just starting to get to the point where it's hinting that it's going to turn on me now.
Yes.
So what are we? We're looking at about an hour and a quarter on this stick.
Yeah. So I'm almost in the business end.
Oh, Stu's done well. He's keeping up with us.
Yeah.
That's new.
So you see, probably the biggest talk of the week is that a couple of days ago, Omar was begging me to go over to Vegas in February for the cigar show with an empty suitcase and to fill it up, and then to come back and smuggle a suitcase of about 400 sticks in for him.
He likes to tie them, doesn't he?
Yeah, mine's just starting to go a bit harsh for me, so I think I might put mine down there because it's starting to get to the point where I'm not enjoying it now. So not quite down to the nub that I normally smoke down to, but I'd rather finish on a good note than finish on a note that I'm not happy with. So, well, that was a really, really enjoyable stick. Definitely one I'd have again. If it was on offer, I'd definitely take it.
100%.
Anyway, recapping, there's our next pack. So we've got the Southern Draw, Jacob's Ladder. That will be the first. That will be next month's stick. I'm really looking forward to that one.
I've heard a lot about that one. I'm looking forward to trying.
Yep. So hoping that one is as impressive on the night we smoke it as it was when Omar and I were doing the testing. Then we're going to have the Hammer and Sickle, very old stock compared to a lot of the other cigars we've smoked. So it'll be interesting to see how these have aged. And then also another one that's going to be really impressed to see how it's aged is a stick that we've had a couple of times in packs before, and we've always enjoyed it, is the ALR second edition. Now, the interesting thing with the ALR second edition is when we had it the first time, there was a definite transitional note between the second and final third where it gets a little bit harsh, but then if you push through it smooths out again and becomes good. The second time we had it, I found that transition wasn't as bold and as dominant. It had mellowed out a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what another year of age on it has actually done, whether it's just a delightful smoke from start to finish. So keep your eyes out on email. Sometime in the next 1 to 2 weeks, either this week or next week, I'll be sending out the emails for the next pack. And it will be first in, best dressed. We have limited places in the next, what do we call it, the education series that we run. So you see it, sign up. And apart from that, we'll see you all here, same time, same place, next month.
Roger.
Well, thank you, gents, for joining us tonight, and thank you, everybody who's joined us online, watching live, and all the comments. It's always a pleasure to see you all and hear from you all, and thank you very much for all your comments and condolences. And other than that, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Over.
See ya.